by LNE Studios. Two original student-written Halloween stories produced and edited on-site at Lion News and Entertainment Studios at Leander High School. There's still time to turn away. You can always switch off and play a game on your phone or close the window and stare at your safe desktop. But I don't think you will. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy our first ever Halloween double feature.
Hi, I'm Dean Marley, and this is my short story, Knocking. I hope you enjoy it.
Lightning flashed again outside my window as the wind rapped against the pane, creating a rhythmic beat of tree branches scraping against glass. The power had been out for some time now, making the glow of my hearth the only light remaining in the house. I sat in my study, sinking into my armchair, staring intently at the flames, licking greedily at the ashen logs. I relaxed, my mind wandering through the memories of the day. Work, a date with a rather marvelous girl, that run-in with the man on the street, all slowly bending into a file stuffed inside my brain for a preferable December day. The grandfather clock ticked methodically until the bell clanged 11, on sync with the rolling thunder and a crack of lightning. I sighed. A rather dismal night. I closed my eyes to reminisce of the date with Emily, grinning and chuckling to myself. That was when I heard a knocking coming from downstairs. I sat up straight, opening my eyes as they fluttered to the closed study door. Who would come knocking at this hour, I thought, turning my ear to listen more accurately. Nothing. Probably just the wind dropping the leaf. I sat back against the cool leather once more, welcoming the smoky aroma of the room into my nostrils. Then the banging echoed up again, this time a little more loudly. I mean, who would wish to speak to me now? I was lightly frightened and annoyed. Mr. Brandy had left hours ago, leaving me as the only one in the home that evening, with the cook only meant to show up Thursday for a party. And I had never told Emily where my house was, so she couldn't possibly be here now. Maybe if I don't answer, they'll just go away. Bang, 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 a third rapping reached my ears. Oh, for Pete's sake, who in God's name wants me at this very moment? Go away! I hollered down the hall. Thunder clapped overhead. Another knock did not occur. Finally, I thought, and relaxed a little more. The storm is getting worse. They should hail a cab and get out of here before the roads flood, I said unto myself. Silence followed, but I could swear I heard a faint clicking noise, followed by the slow creaking of a door and the soft thud of it closing. That was when something, I know not what, fell downstairs. I staggered from my chair into a standing position, startled, frozen, staring at the door as the fire crackled dimly, slowly dying in the nightly wind, hollering through the chimney to the cold December sky. Who goes there? I stuttered faintly. There was no reply. I said, who goes there? I ordered more strongly this time, clenching my fists. No answer followed once again, except for the quiet clapping of shoe heels coming from below. I sidestepped my way to the hearth and found the poker which I brandished in my hands, knuckles white as clouds as they grasped the cool iron. The ashen smell flew up and made my eyes water. Memories now flooded my mind. That man earlier on the street, I remembered. The one whom I told to bug off. How tall did he look? How strong? Did he have murder in his eyes? My mind flashed through the memory, yet I could not figure out what the man looked like, nor his stature or the nature of his eyes. The only thing I could picture was his gray suit, brown smoking cigar, and the bruise he gave me when he ran into my shoulder, along with his cold voice. The footsteps came to a sudden stop outside the study door. The fire no longer licked at the brick walls, and now was just glowing embers, drenching the room in darkness. The door slowly opened as light illuminated the house for a quick second until returning to black. I closed my eyes completely, disregarding the weapon I clenched. I whispered a plea. Please let me be. Tears fell from my eyes as my body went rigid with fear. I smelled the rainy air waft up from the open door, mixing with the ashen air. I thought of who was going to miss me if I disappeared. A soft purring reached my ears and a warm rubbing against my legs. I peeked down to see Tom, my white cat, massaging himself against my ankles. I laughed, wiping away my tears. Oh, Tom, you gave me a fright, I explained, dropping the poker and picking him up from the ground. I thought you were a man. I laughed some more. Now the wind probably pushed the front door open. Mr. Brandy didn't lock it again, I presume. I find that everything is always more dramatic and scarier in the dark. I hugged the cat close to my chest, sighing in relief. How could I be so stupid in thinking there was a man in my house? Scare myself to death.
Don't blame yourself, Mr. Caldwell. As you said, everything is scarier in the dark.
A cold voice responded.
Hi, I'm Olivia Toll, and this is my short story, Don't Trust That Smile. I hope you enjoy it.
A slender woman, with hair as dark as night, her skin a light shade of caramel, her smile so radiant and captivating. She looked like she was in her late 20s or early 30s. Clementine Barfields was her name. She was, without a doubt, stunning. Too bad she was a serial killer.
I don't think I've properly introduced myself. I'm Miss Field. What might your names be?
Whose Field? Well, that's Clementine. Clementine Barfields. The psychopath gave herself the nickname Fields, simply because she couldn't go around telling everyone all her personal information. Come on now. She's not stupid.
I'm April, and this is my sister June.
What is your parents' name? July and August?
Miss Fields, how old are you?
April, June, and Fields were headed inside the house now, everyone walking in sync. The real question is, how did Fields get here? Well, that's quite a strategic plan, frankly. Fields played the part as homeless hitchhiker, alluring them with her captivating smile, and just like that, the naive family opened their home to her.
Don't ask her that. That's rude.
It's all right. I'll tell you if you tell me, okay?
Well, I'm 10. And I'm 12 and 3/4. I'm practically a teenager.
I'm 31.
The small talk bit was one of her best tactics. Interacting with the people she planned to kill, learning new information about them, their family, their interests. It gave her a cover story and insight into her prey's capabilities. While Field was thinking, she came to the conclusion that she had to take immediate action. She needed to take this gullible family out as soon as possible. She strikes tonight. Late that night, after they'd eaten dinner and everyone was tucked safely in their beds, assuming no harm would come to them as they slept, Fields was getting ready to come out and play.
They're not going to know what hit them when I attack.
June! What? Do you hear that? No, go back to sleep. Just listen. See? There's nothing. But nothing. Go back to sleep.
And with that, June closed her eyes, falling back into a hazy sleep, leaving April to wonder where that noise was coming from. April sat in her bed as she heard evil cackles echoing through the house. Trembling, April got out of bed and went towards the noise. The 10-year-old girl was shaking with fear as she crept upstairs, following the noise.
It's It's fine.
April told herself, unable to stop shaking. As she made her way to the top of the stairs, she heard a sweet, tender, gentle voice calling for her. She looked up to see that it was no other than Miss Fields. She smiled.
Oh, Miss Fields, I'm so glad you're here. I heard something really, really scary.
She said, running into her arms. Little did she know that she had just walked into her undoing. Meanwhile, April and June's father, Frank, got out of bed to the sound of glass being shattered. He kissed his wife on the forehead, grabbed an aluminum bat, and headed out of the room to figure out what exactly was going on. He tiptoed through the hallway, frantically searching for the cause of the noise. Then he came to a halt when he saw something so disturbing that all he could say was,
It can't be. Okay. I just have the heebie-jeebies.
There was a stream of blood trickling out of the door onto the backyard. Frank kept a firm grip on the bat, and he told himself that there was no better time than now to be the man his father always wanted him to be.
I have to protect my family.
June was awoken to muffled screams. At first, she thought June had finally gotten into her head, and now she was having a bad dream, but when she was about to complain to April, she realized her sister wasn't there. As a matter of fact, her sister was nowhere to be found. June went looking around the house. She checked their room, the kitchen, the living room, everywhere she could think of. But then, when she slowed down, she started to find clues. Clues she almost wished she hadn't seen. She'd seen the blood staining the floor, then in a panic, clumsily fell into a piece of glass. June was freaking out. She ran into her mom's room and desperately tried to wake her up.
Mama, wake up. Papa's gone and I can't find April.
Did you have a nightmare?
No, get up.
June dragged her mother out of bed and led her to the blood she'd seen on the floor. Her mom's eyes widened to the size of saucers.
Oh my, honey, where's your father?
I haven't seen him.
What about the lady we let stay with us?
You mean Miss Fields?
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen her either.
Such a pretty girl you are.
Field sliced what must have been her 8th or 9th cut into April's skin. April cried out in pain, watching as the blood spewed from her arm.
Why are you doing this?
April asked, looking pale in the face. Field cupped the girl's face in what seemed to be adoration. Field looked right into April's eyes and said,
Because family is like...
In that moment, Frank came charging into the shed. Field had been keeping April in.
Get away from my daughter now.
April's father said with the aluminum bat in hand.
Oh, really?
Field couldn't help but give a wicked smile. Frank came charging towards her, holding the bat ready to bash her in. Field scoffed.
I'm not scared of you.
April's father swung the bat as hard as he could, hoping to get a hit at Fields.
Oh, yeah? Well, neither am I.
Mama, are we going to go outside?
Of course not. I'm calling the police or the feds or the ambulance. Whoever picks up first.
June and April's mom, Patricia, dialed 911, only to come to a crushing realization. She didn't have any signal. Not a single Wi-Fi bar. Patricia beat the phone.
Darn it, it's not working.
June gulped.
So, should we...
She asked, gesturing toward the door.
No, my intuition is telling me it's a trap, so we'll go out the front and try to make a run for it.
What about Papa and April?
Papa, no!
But it was too late. April had been used as a shield from Frank, and there was no fixing that. April was hit right in the head with that stupid aluminum bat. Frank collapsed to the ground, tears in his eyes. Field was smiling. She felt happy, and the happiest she'd felt in years, maybe decades.
What's so funny, huh?
June and Patricia came running into the backyard to see April laying there, lifeless. Then they looked up at Fields.
This.
Fields said in admiration of her work. June came running to her sister's side.
April!
She yelled. Patricia, washed over with panic, cried out.
Is she?
She couldn't even bring herself to finish the sentence.
You monster!
June screamed.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Frank demanded. Fields walked over to June with a gentle expression.
Because.
She pulled out a knife from her pocket, slit in June's neck. The blood streamed from her like a water geyser. June could only look up at Fields in disbelief as she took her last breath.
It's fun.
And with that, Fields gave them that captivating smile that started this whole mess. This program was made possible by the amazing English teachers at Leander High School, as well as our incredible writers and cast. Knocking was written by Dean Marley and starred Mr. Dirkes as the narrator. Don't Trust That Smile was written by Olivia Tull and starred Genna Hall as Clementine Barfields, Kate Smith as April, Jillian Vincent as June, Gavin Rojas as Frank, and Bree Dossey as Patricia. It was narrated by Mr. Dirkes. All music was written and performed by Kevin MacLeod and was made available through the Creative Commons license. Any of his music can be found at incompetechfilmmusic.io. Songs used were This House and Dark Walk.